So you want to build a commander deck. My name's King Luke.
I'm Squire Nate.
Together we have 50 years of experience playing Magic the Gathering.
Built hundreds of decks.
Played thousands of games.
And we're going to use some of that experience to help you build the best commander deck you can today.
The first thing we're going to be talking about today is card draw. Card draw is a must in every deck you build. We got to have it. I have at least 10 cards in every deck that help us draw cards.
If you are able to draw enough cards that you can answer every spell that your opponent is able to play and still have things left to do on your turn, then you're in a position to just take over and control a game of Magic.
Some of the best draw cards in the game, some of my favorites at least, are Greater Good, we got Esper Sentinel, we got Rhystic Study, Teferi's Ageless Insight, Archivist of Agma, Mask of Grizzlebrand, super underrated cards.
Those are all really great card draw options. I think he really hit most of the good ones for me, except for Shamanic Revelation, drawing cards equal to the amount of creatures you have, Rishkar's Expertise, get free stuff too. And then finally, I think my favorite piece of card draw is a little known equipment called Skull Clamp. It's going to let you draw 2 cards every time the equipped creature dies, and it puts -1 on the butt so you can kill off your own creature.
Definitely one of the strongest card draw engines in the game, especially when you're playing tokens, got 1/1s, so you can just clamp them all. Paying 1 mana to draw 2 cards is so powerful.
Whether you're coming back from a board wipe or countering everything your opponent tries to do, card advantage is the way to win the game in Commander.
The next tip we're going to be talking about is mana ramp. No matter the color deck you're using, mana ramp is super important.
Most people, when they think about ramp, they think about playing additional lands, and for that you need green. But with all of the artifacts that we have in Modern Magic today, you don't need green to ramp anymore.
They also double up to where you can put mana into these artifacts late game and draw extra cards or get other advantages like creating tokens and other things that are just super beneficial throughout the game of Magic.
And when it comes to card draw and ramp, they go hand in hand. Because without the ramp, you're not going to be able to get the benefits from the card draw. And without the card draw, you're not going to ramp the way you want to.
And if you don't have mana to cast your spells in your hand, you can have all the cards in your hand. But if you don't have the mana to cast them, they're just dead cards. The next tip we got for you today is redundancy. Stacking up with the same effects throughout your deck is very important.
It can be hard to draw 1 card when you only have 1 copy out of it in 99, but when you are able to put in 3 or 4 creatures, add in a couple tutors to give consistency, and suddenly you're finding that effect in every game.
Redundancy is so important. It's already in the first 2 rules, which is ramp and card draw. We already have 10 plus of those cards, which is technically redundancy.
In Commander, you have access to a card pool like no other format. Being from the beginning of the game all the way up to Modern Magic allows you to find effects that you can't find in other formats and just stack them one on top of another.
The next tip is probably one of the most important. It keeps the game going, keeps you casting more spells. It's removal. Everything dies to removal, so we got to keep things dead, keep the threats that your opponents are playing in the graveyard.
If you're not removing the biggest problems of the game, then the game's going to end far too quickly and before anyone else gets a chance to play their big splashy spells. We want Commander to be about getting your pieces out and about getting those pieces turned sideways.
It's a casual format, so we're casually going to murder their guy and put it in the graveyard, exile it if we need to. Removal is so important, like I said, keeping the game going, us all casting more spells and having more fun.
And when you don't have enough removal to be able to remove the threat itself, there's always one type of removal that people forget is an option, and that is player removal. If the player is removed from the game, so is their threat.
Yes, that is definitely the best kind of removal, is just player removal all in general. If somebody's taken away with the game, all 3 of you guys just gang up on that mofo, take him out.
Next tip we got for you today is board wipes. Without board wipes, as soon as a player starts to get ahead in the game, it's over, and that's not fun for anyone.
Sometimes there's just too much shit on the board, and you need to go ahead and wipe it away, put it all in the graveyard. Some of my favorite board wipes: Kindred Dominance, we got Blight Grenade, we got Wrath of God, Damn is one of my favorite.
Board wipes are extremely powerful and necessary to the game of Commander. And with how many board wipe options we have in Modern Magic, it's really fun to be able to find these symmetrical effects.
I run 3 to 4 in every single deck, and sometimes we're running board wipe travel, so I'm running 8 to 12 of them bad boys.
I personally only run 2 to 3, but I tend to play fairly board-dependent decks.
I like to wipe the board, because, like, you just need to wipe that shit away. Some people doing too much too quick. Wipe it away, y'all.
Some people are me.
The next tip we got for you today is going to be finishers. Adding a finisher to your deck is super crucial. Nobody wants to sit there and play a 14-hour game of Commander.
Finishers are any spell that are able to take the game, clean it up, and wrap it up into a bow. Those cards are things like Craterhoof Behemoth, Finale of Devastation, Genesis Wave. These cards come in and say, I'm winning now, or I'm putting myself so far ahead that I'm winning very soon.
Or you can even play cards that say you actually win the game, like Approach of the Second Sun, or take infinite turns with Time Warp and stuff like that. It's crazy how people can wrap up the game. Having a way to sink your mana into something and gain exponential value is necessary.
And finding finishers that people haven't always seen is one of the best ways to keep Commander interesting. It's not so much fun to lose to the same Crater Hoof or the same finale every time, but it can be a lot of fun to find a new way that you've never seen to wrap this game out. For this next point, we're going to talk about lands a little bit. We're not going to go exactly into what lands are the most important for what decks, but we are going to talk about evaluating what you need your lands to be capable of doing. Look at your commander and say, do I need to be able to play lands that are giving me green mana on 1 and then white mana on 2? Or do I need to play cards that are coming in untapped so that I'm ready to go immediately?
I am just going to talk about the cards that I hate. I hate Myriad Landscape. I hate the cards that come in tapped. Any land that comes into tapped, I personally hate unless we're doing 3 more colors. The lands that come into play tapped and scry, terrible. The lands that come into play tapped and gain a life, terrible. Don't use those. I'd rather use a basic land.
I can agree with you on the ones that come in tapped for indestructible and for gain of life, but scrying can be seriously undervalued in a game of Commander. Seeing a card is just as good as drawing it.
Now, one final tip for you guys when you're building a Magic the Gathering deck, and that is to have fun.
And one of the best ways to do that is to remember that every Commander deck should come with just a little bit of the secret sauce. The secret sauce isn't about power, it's all about flavor. It's about taking the thing that made that deck inspiring for you and putting that in the spotlight.
Commander is one of the most fun games. You could pick like your favorite commander, your favorite legendary creature. Say you want to build a Gandalf deck. You can run Gandalf all you want. One of my favorite decks is just something silly. It ended up being pretty powerful, but it was the Myra the Attractions deck, where I put stickers everywhere, open attractions. It just does silly things, and I like having fun with that.
And putting stickers on people's cards always makes them so happy.
It's just so fun putting stickers on cards. It's one of my favorite things is pulling out the stickers at the beginning of the game. Is like, hey, pick one of these stickers, and it is all Commander legal. It is all legal because of that Unfinity set. It's one of my favorite sets that ever came out. It brought stickers and attractions. It's just so stupid.
It hurts me to my core.
But it's so fun. That is definitely one of the best things about playing Commander. You can pick one of the kindreds you want. You can play all elves. You can play all dwarves. You can play all goblins. All angels. Goblins. It is so fun. I love it. It's definitely the best tip to have is just to have fun with all your people. Me and Nate made a list of the 10 most fun Commanders in Magic the Gathering. Check it out right here, y'all.